Hi, and welcome to the second Muse on the Introvert Biz Growth podcast, the show where I talk to introverts who grow their business and make a difference. I'm Sarah Santacroce, your host. And if you're new here, then I want you to know that this is not the usual format of my regular episodes. I post a new show here every other Friday, and it's always a conversation with a fellow introverted entrepreneur who uses his or her introverted superpowers to make a difference. These shows are edited by Tim, my professional podcast editor, who also creates amazing show notes pages. But today's episode is a muse. That's unedited, raw content. So no intro music, no bells and whistles. And I share these muses to make you think, to inspire you, and also to break the rules. Today's muse is composed of two parts. First, I muse by myself about a quote that I came across this week. And then I'll also share a quick conversation I had with Lisa Wells, a previous podcast guest and fellow introvert and friend of mine, about the topic marketing with integrity. So first to the quote. It's a quote by Carolyn Tate, the author of the book Conscious Marketing. And it goes like this. The business of business is no longer business. The business of business is making the world a better place. I'll read it again so you can really soak it in. The business of business is no longer business. The business of business is making the world a better place. Does that resonate with you? I'm sure it does. Otherwise, you wouldn't be listening to this podcast where we're all about making a difference. This quote just really hit home for me, and it's people who have those same values who I really want to surround myself with, people who are in business to make the world a better place, which is why I'm on a mission to create that gentle business revolution, because we really need to be more gentle in business. We need more gentle people in business, people, like us, like introverts who are gentle and kind. So that's my muse today. And now, as promised, here's my conversation with Lisa Wells about the topic marketing with integrity and what that means to her. Enjoy. Hey, Lisa.
Hey, Sarah.
So good to speak to you. You're so close to me and yet so far. So you're in Germany right now, right?
I am. It's so pretty. And I wish you were going to come with me to the cafe because it would be so much fun. Just, we don't get to hang out with local people too often, do we?
I know. As introverts, it's always kind of a special occasion when we do that. But we're also very picky. So I think we have opportunities, but we're sometimes a bit picky who we want to hang out with. Yeah. So the topic of this short muse is to talk about marketing with integrity. So I wanted to ask you what your thoughts are when I bring up this topic.
And like we were talking about earlier, I don't know if people are like, wait a minute, you weren't talking about that earlier. So we were talking at one point about marketing and how I think the longer that you're in business, the more people you're going to listen to. And then you get to this point where you're not trusting yourself, and then you start to get frustrated. So for me, it was, kind of figuring that part out. So one of the things that I learned was marketing for you, not marketing what everybody else tells you how to market or what you think you should be doing. Or you see somebody on stage and everybody says, that can be you. And you're thinking, well, it could be, but that would be extremely uncomfortable. And then them telling you, it's okay, that's how, the magic is happening. But all the while, that that's just not your path, or that's really not going to work for you. So for me, it was figuring out, what is the best style for me? And it was, being conversational, because at heart, I'm a supporter, what they call a supporter or a contributor. And that's at me at heart. I'm not like what they call guru or a truth guide. These are all archetypes. And that just isn't me. I'm not going to tell people what to do or that I know everything there is to know. I'm going to be there to support you in what you need to do. So it's kind of figuring out, how do you market that as a supporter? That's kind of the whole, what's swirling about when I think of that.
Yeah, it's so true. And I think we often, as introverts, I don't know if extroverts do the same thing, but I think it's definitely us introverts, we compare too much, right? We compare mostly with an extroverted world, because let's face it, probably 90% of the marketers out there that we follow are extroverts. And so we think that we have to be like them, like you just said, and we have to speak on stage, or we have to do these salesy webinars, or got to sell on a webinar. Well, otherwise, why would you do a webinar, right? So all these things where it's these should thoughts in our head, and it's true that.
I totally agree with that, because you're right, and because those are the ones who are going to be seen. That's their style. That's their natural marketing style, and it works for them. And there's definitely a lot of FOMO, fear of missing out going on. And then you think, what am I doing wrong that I'm not, either getting ahead or up leveling or whatever that word is for you. I was thinking the other day about that in my local hometown, I don't have very many friends. I prefer being at home. I've got animals, and getting up and out takes a lot of energy. And so I was starting to feel like something was really wrong, that I don't have a lot of friends. And then I was listening to a really, really good coach, George Cow. Love George Cow. He was saying, how am I so productive? How do I get a lot done? And one of the first things he said was, I don't go out. I don't have friends. I don't need the drama. I lead a very low drama life. And I thought, oh my gosh, he just gave me permission to not have it. And I don't know what it is, but I felt like, there's nothing wrong with the way that you're feeling, because the way you're feeling is the way you're feeling. And again, the fact that everybody else is, I have all these biz besties and best friends and going out and colleagues, and that's all great. And if you're not doing it the way they're doing it, you feel something's wrong. Mm-hmm. But then comes along saying, it's okay to not have any friends. I'm going to go through life friendless, and it's okay.
I'm your friend, your virtual friend.
I know. All my friends are great. And I do go out once a month. I'll go to a meeting or something, but it's okay to do the things you want to do.
Yeah. And I think people, that's part of marketing, because people who are like you, they will dig that. They'll be like, just like you dig what George said, right? And so I think that's what it's all about. Being an introverted marketer is just find people who like what you're sharing and who feel the same. And so it's bringing that personality, I guess, into your marketing. That's what it's all about.
Definitely. And it is true, because the people I resonate with are the more, not the flashy people. There's a time and a place for them. They're needed, definitely, because I don't see very many introverts getting up there on stage and, doing the show that they can do, or, their style of marketing. But I agree that I'm more the people who can, sit down and just be real and be, explain things, or not be afraid to give things away for fear of, I'm giving all my best stuff away, or, that's how people are going to trust you. And that's how you're going to find those people who want to work with you. Mm-hmm. Many times we inauthentically market ourselves, we end up attracting the wrong person, and then they're not a very good client anyway.
No, yeah, so true.
That all the time. I mean, I was just on Facebook yesterday, and somebody was going, lamenting about, just having the wrong client. And I didn't, and you don't know that when you're first starting out. I mean, Sarah, when you first started out, did you think, okay, when I market, I'm going to attract this certain type of person? You only kind of figure that out as you go. So
Yeah, because you think you have to market like everybody else. And so you get clients like everybody else has. So they're not necessarily the best fits for you. That's
right.
Yeah. Yeah, I see that in my LinkedIn business, where I try to focus on social serving and telling people that I'm in the human business and we create relationships. And yet some people, they think, oh, she does lead generation and she's like one of these lead generation gurus who, sends out 1,000 messages to their LinkedIn connections and, just spams everybody. I'm like, no, that's not me, wrong person. And so I still get messages from people who want that kind of, service. So yeah, it's definitely true. You have to market yourself authentically so that the right people connect with you.
Yeah.
That was a really interesting conversation. Thank you so much, Lisa, for
that was fun.
taking that, accepting to talk to me. And we're going to stop the recording now, but we're going to keep on chatting. So I look forward to that. Take care. Thanks so much for listening to our conversation. Apologies for the rather poor audio quality this time. Lisa was in a rented apartment in Germany, so not her usual setup. I hope you enjoyed it anyway, and I wish you a great week. Take care.